everyone, today we are going to talk about Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Wild Reverence comes out on September 2nd. This book is technically a prequel novel to the Divine Rivals Ruthless Vows duology. This book follows Matilda. Matilda is a new goddess born of the Underrealm. She's the youngest goddess and she's born as a herald or a messenger of the gods. She has the power to go up to the skyward realm and also to the realm of the humans. Normally the Underrealm gods cannot go to the skyward and the skyward can't go to the Underrealm, but she has the ability to go to both. The political machinations of the gods is pretty crazy and intense, and she's kind of just trying to stay out of it a little bit. But she does have a few allies within the Underrealm gods, including Bade, who is the god of war, and Alva, who is the goddess of dreams. Alva starts bringing her the dreams of some mortals for her to watch the dreams. And included in that is a young boy named Vincent. So she starts to not only watch Vincent's dreams, but seems to be in Vincent's dreams. And in them, she helps him. And at some point when they're teenagers, something happens with Matilda where she ends up in the human realm and actually runs into fellow teenage Vincent. Vincent, realizing that Matilda is actually a goddess and a real person who exists, sort of changes the course of his life a lot. And I don't want to get too much into the plot after that because I think you should just experience it. But it essentially starts this connection between these two characters that spans a very long time. If you have read Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, a lot of the gods that you see in this book are going to sound very familiar to you. Enva, Dakra, they take a somewhat backseat. They're more of secondary gods, but you still see the start of the myth that we know of in those books. They are considering this an adult novel, while Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows are in the young adult category. I personally think that none of them are young adult. I think every one of them should be labeled as an adult book because of the themes within them. Not because of the spiciness factor or anything like that, literally just because it's about war and loss and all these sort of things. And I think somebody who's a little bit older would understand them a little better. This is book 0. This takes place a few hundred years before the events of Divine Rivals. But should you read it first, last, where? My personal opinion is that you have two options. If you haven't read Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, you could start with this book, read it first, and then read the other two books. Personally, I've already been telling people I think they should read Divine Rivals, then read Wild Reverence, then read Ruthless Vows. I love Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows, but I did struggle with Ruthless Vows a bit because I didn't understand the world of the gods, and that does play a big part in that book. This sort of gives you all the backstory and how the gods think and how they behave that I think would have been really, really helpful before I read Ruthless Vows. Obviously, a lot of us have already read that duology, in which case you can just read that and it's fine. But if you haven't read any of them, read Wild Reverence first or second. Now, because I understand the world of the gods so much more, I'm actually doing a reread of the Letters of Enchantment duology. So I started Divine Rivals for the third read, by the way, on audio last night. This will be my second time reading Ruthless Vows once I get to it, and I really think it's going to open up that book a lot more for me than it did the first time. When I found out Rebecca Ross was writing another book in that same world, I was a little hesitant because for a moment I thought, she's just doing it because Divine Rivals was such a massive success, a bigger success than any of her other books. And, they're trying to make a little bit more money. They're trying to milk it a little bit more. I take it back. This story's worth telling. It's incredible. Rebecca Ross is just a magnificent author anyway. I've also read the Elements of Cadence duology, which is A River Enchanted. Her style of writing is just, it's gorgeous. This book, I think, sort of is between the writing style of Divine Rivals and River Enchanted. It's kind of in the middle there. The book starts out a little slow, not ungodly slow, oh my God, this is awful, but definitely you have to sort of get your place in the world and sort of figure out where Matilda lives within it. Once the story starts picking up, my gosh. And that really happens once you get to sort of the Act 2 area, which is about 130 pages in. This is sort of your world building. This is nonstop action. Man, poor Matilda cannot catch a break for the rest of this book, or Vincent for that matter. She managed to write such a beautiful and rich world, both of the gods and just the human realm, that felt like its own separate story, and yet there's all these little things that are dropped in there that if you've read Divine Rivals, you'd be like, oh my gosh, which is why I think it's best to read this book second, especially because I think the epilogue will be a little confusing, maybe if people have not read Divine Rivals yet. I mean, I read this book pretty fast. I read this book in about a week, and it's a big book. It's over 500 pages. I could not put this book down. I loved every second of it because her writing is just beautiful. Matilda and Vincent, the relationship that they have is so beautiful without feeling like you're just rereading Iris and Roman all over again, which I think does happen a lot of time when authors put a book within the same world as something that was so big and massive as Divine Rivals. I really don't have anything bad to say about it. There's literally nothing I could say that could have been done better to make this book more enjoyable for me. I think Rebecca had a very difficult task ahead of her to write something within the same world as Divine Rivals and make it as good. Because to me, Divine Rivals is a perfect novel. It's beautiful. It makes me cry. So to write this and achieve that, ooh, that was a tough gig. Frankly, I think this should be a must read for everybody. If it's not on your TBR, you need to put it on your TBR, because also this book is perfect fall vibes. Perfect. Now, there are a lot of special editions of this book coming out. I did get an early copy of the finished US first edition. So just to show it to you, it does have black sprayed edges. That is the naked cover on it. Oh, it's so pretty. So this one you should be able to get at any US retailer. Wild Reverence comes out on September 2nd. I gave it 5 stars. I mean, honestly, deserves more than 5 stars. It was so perfect. This may be the most boring review I've ever done because I have nothing bad to say. Please check it out. And if you've read Wild Reverence, I would love to hear in the comments what you thought about it. A+ work there, Rebecca Ross.